start this conference. Okay. View multi-speaker. Okay. Hello and good afternoon. Hello, everyone. So great to have you here. I just want to share that we are having a dual meeting right now, which is online and offline right here in the Faculty of Law and Administration. So there's also students surrounding me that are going to present today, this evening, all evening, hopefully not the whole night, right? But anyways, it is Friday, January 2026. Lovely to have you. This is IP Lab, experimental thing that follows our class and will be followed by proceedings. Welcome, everyone. Thank you indeed again for coming and joining and sharing the same love for intellectual property and strategies and maybe business and so many other areas of science. Since this lab is going to be quite interdisciplinary, we'll be looking at different brands, different regimes of protection, and many more. With us, first Professor José Geraldo Romanello Bueno, joining from Brazil, Sao Paulo, Campinas, Mackenzie, Presbyterian University in Sao Paulo, Campinas. Thank you so much indeed. Thank you also for really making time for really making time to be here with us and for being so generous to join us and also to edit the proceedings that will follow this meeting. So again, welcome everyone. Welcome. I'd like to welcome the audience and especially the students that they prepared a big deal of knowledge for today. But before we jump in and get on with it, let me move to Professor José Geraldo Romanello Bueno. Please spend a few words and the screen, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Marlena. Are you listening?
Thank you.
Well, yeah, okay. Thank you very much for the invitation. It's now my distinct pleasure to introduce the subsequent session, which will focus on fashion law, a field that compellingly illustrates the intersection of intellectual property, creativity, branding, sustainability, and cultural heritage. Once again, I express my deepest appreciation to Professor Dr. Marlena Jankowska for her vision, dedication, and continued commitment to academic excellence. I am equally honored to acknowledge the distinguished speakers who will contribute to these questions. Cristina Martínez, Julia Sloanowska, Magdalena Rakowska, Julia Domaga, Ayrton de la Torre Sanchez, Ion Sierra Gil Vincent, Maria Teresa Pérez Martínez, Carol Otats, and Tito Paulzik. Your work highlights how fashion law has evolved into a strategic field for understanding innovation, intellectual property protection, competitive positioning, and ethical challenges faced by global creative industries. I warmly encourage all participants, speakers, doctoral candidates, and doctoral students and guests to engage actively in the discussions, to question, to exchange perspectives, and to use this occasion as an opportunity for profound and meaningful academic learning. Finally, I extend my heartfelt thanks to the entire organization team for the excellence of this initiative, and once again, my sincere appreciation to Professor Dr. Marlena Jankowska for the invitation to take part in such a distinguished and inspiring academic event. Thank you very much, and I wish you all a stimulating and highly productive exchange. Thanks, Professor Marlena.
Thank you, Professor José, Geraldo, so much again for all these beautiful words and for joining and for stimulating us further to work. And so now we will proceed as 3:50 is approaching, and it is Cristina Andreu Martínez of University de Murcia, Spain, and she will present her first presentation on rare beauty and fashion law strategies, and she will have a more general dive into branding, compliance, and competitive advantage, which is amazing because you will paint the picture for us what it is that we looked at quite for some time this semester. So let me make the scene for you. Present the scene, start sharing your presentation. Please take my floor here. And yes, so that's what it is. Very good. I guess you know
I want to have like the present. Well, I don't care like the animations, but it's so important. So thank you. Hi everyone. Today I'm gonna talk about one of the most important brands in cosmetics. It's called Rare Beauty. Maybe most of you know them, maybe not. But today I'm here to explain to you more or less what I'm going to talk about. Okay, so now we have like the index. Okay, and the index. Okay, Rare Beauty is a cosmetic brand founded by Selena Gomez, a famous actress and singer. So that's become a brave mark because of the inclusion and the ethical problems that they have. So it has become with a strong focus on mental health awareness.
One sec. Is it being recorded? Yes, it is being recorded.
Yeah.
All good.
Okay, but I don't see. So can I see?
Yes, I'm sorry.
No, don't worry.
Technical stuff, technicalities.
Oh, it's the first
So
one.
here, view a multi-speaker, but here's the presentation.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. So, okay. From this run from fashion law strategies, very important because it's very interesting because it integrates brand strategy and ethical positioning, intellectual property with all the trademarks, the images, the celebrity branding, also the regulatory compliance in cosmetics, and also incorporates the social responsibility. So in this presentation, I'm going to talk about the brand overview, like the history, the context, but also I'm going to analyze the SWOT, the puzzle, and then the SPT, like the segmentation, targeting, and positioning, and also a little bit things about the fashion law strategy and the conclusion, obviously. So the history. Selena Gomez, a famous actress and singer, was spent most of her life in the entertainment industry. We know that industry is very hard because we are always to be perfect or the body, and we have like very high standards of the beauty. So that's why in 2019, Selena wanted to create a brand who breaks all these standards and to be like comfortable with everyone. That's also in 2020, the official launch of Rare Beauty, but exclusively with Sephora. So from the start, the brand wants to go more than a normal brand of cosmetics. He wants to be like positioning itself as a social movement. So everyone is perfect and you have to accept yourself. And that is very important because it's not as the normal cosmetic brands that we are accustomed. So Selena Gomez also linked her brand to her personal experience because she suffered anxiety, also depression and lupus. So she wants to redefine the beauty norms. So the creation of Rare Infos dedicate also 1% of all the sales about the mental health. Something that, for example, me, I didn't know. So it's very important because when you are buying one product of her, you are like contributing to the mental health. So that's important. Then about the context, well, the year founded is this 2020. Then the main distribution is Sephora, one of, I think, the most important shop about cosmetics in all the world. And the product is makeup, the basic, but they have like all the lines. And the mission is redefine beauty about promoting the self-acceptance, the ethical things, and all about that. Then we have to talk about the SWOT analysis. Well, that's the strengths, the weakness for one way. In what way we're going to start about the strengths? Well, it has a strong brand identity. That's because it's not a normal brand. It also try to like a real beauty, diversity, and inclusion. Then we have the celebrity branding, like Selena Gomez adds visibility and emotional connection, legal use of imagine rights. Then the social commitment that is very important because it aligns with equality standards. It's not a normal brand. And then the distribution strategy, because Sephora is the most important shop in the world about cosmetic and makeup. So it's a very good idea. And then we have like some weaknesses. For example, the dependence of Selena Gomez images. Like we can think if Selena has one problem or something like that, or has something bad, they can cancel her. So this thing can affect like the imagine also of the brand. So it's a double way that maybe it's not good. So also the limit portfolio is because it's more or less like a new brand, so they don't have like as much as products as maybe another cosmetic brand. But well, I think that they continue like developing some things, and they have more or less new products. And then mid to high pricing, because it's not a luxury brand, but it's not also the cheapest one. So when you want to buy, if you are like a normal person that has not a lot of money, maybe you think, okay, this, because more or less for you to know, a blush can cost like $30. So in my opinion, I can think that, well, one of the most important things about this brand is the pigmentation. So for example, you think that you are spending a lot of money on a blush, for example, but this blush can also dure for years. So it depends on what you see. And then they outsource the production. Well, the most or factories have this outside their production, but it's true that that you have to always be perfect. So it depends on the third people or the third person that on a third factory is like difficult because something bad can happen to them or something like that. So it's not a good thing. Then we have the opportunities and the threats. Well, the opportunity is rising demand for ethical and socially responsible brands, international expansion with harmonized cosmetic regulations, then product line extension that I said before, like now they don't have like too much products, but they continue like with the skincare, wellness, fragrances. And then we collaboration with the NGOs, designers, mental health initiative. That's so important. Then about the threes, we have like high competition. Well, we have a lot of brands of makeup. So for example, Fenty Beauty, Glossier, or Carly Cosmetics, that they are like the competition to them. Then we have the regulatory risks because we have like, so for example, if you want to be international, the norms of the rules in one place is not the same as another. So for example, in USA they have to follow one rules, but then in the United, like in here, we have to follow another. So then we have the greenwashing, social washing accusations that they have to be perfect what they said because we now want to a more green planet, a more green world. So that could affect us. At the moment, they don't appear in any thing of bad of that, but it's very important. And then the cancel culture or on social media reputation risks. But because here now in this moment, actually it's very easy to get canceled by any polemic or anything that you said or you have. So this could affect us very much. Very much. Then we have like the personal analysis. We are going to talk about the political, economic, social, technological, environmental, and legal. Well, about the political is the international cosmetic regulation that I said before. We have in United States, for example, we have the FDA, is the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act. Then we have the equality, diversity, and anti-discrimination policies that is always like take a look because this is brand is based on the ethical things, on the inclusion things. So they are like the people are very conscious about that. Then we have like the regulation of corporate foundation and donation that they have to be transparent and they have to say all the donations that you have, all the foundations and all about that. Then about the economics, we have like the inflation that is a problem that affects everyone, not in this way, in every way, but also in this case. So because like the people not consume as much as they could if it's not inflation. Then the dependence of the young consumer, because the most people who buy these products are young. So if they not have as money as maybe one great adult, they like can affect that. Then we have the technological, because now this is a young brand who has a digital marketing and social media. Then the influencer marketing companies that they can help us, they can like promote the products, and then the innovation in formulation and suitable packaging. Then we have like the legal, because the trademark and the IP law protection. Then the imagine personality rights of Selena Gomez, because it's very, like I said before, because it's very linked about the brand and Selena Gomez. If Selena Gomez has a bad image, the brand will have to. And then the cosmetic safety labeling and testing regulation, because they have to follow in every country they want to sell, they have to follow the rules. And then the consumer protection and follow advertising, because they have to tell the truth. If you are helping the mental health, you have to prove it, and you can lie with that because it's a serious thing. Then we have the STP, the segmentation, targeting, and positioning. On one way, we have the segmentation. Well, like I said before, the most people, like the demographic is young adults between 18 and 35 months. Then the psychographic, conscious, inclusive, and digital consumers, and they define how seeking brands with values, not only products. Then we have like the targeting, primitive. We have like the Gen Z and millennials, and then the consumers interested in natural makeup and with ethical business. And then the positioning, we have Rare Beauty is positioned as an inclusive, authentic, and socially committed beauty brand that prioritizes emotional well-being over unrealistic standards. It's like a new way to see the makeup, because we are not accustomed to see like the normal brand of this. So that's it. Then we have the legal fashion law in deep dive, because the celebrity owned brands and fashion law. Well, the separation between Selena Gomez and Rare Beauty as a legal entity, because they are not the same. They can affect us, but it's not the same, because the brand can use the imagine, but also can work as themselves. It's like a person, so it's not the same. They have a contract for that. Then we have like the licensing agreements for name, image, and signature. Like they can kind of use the name of Selena or the image of Selena wherever you want. They have like the contract when they say it. And then also the risk management clauses in endorsement and shareholder contracts. Well, they have to review to see how they going to take, and if something bad happens, they have to be regulated. Then we have the advertising and consumer law, because it has to be truthful, not misleading advertising obligation. Like that I said before, you can say whatever you want. Whatever you say, you can do fake publicity. So you have to be true what you said. And if you have a commitment with the mental health, with the standards of the beauty and all about that, you have to follow them. Then we have the sponsored content disclosure, and then the special scrutiny due to young consumer demographics. Then the corporate responsibility, social responsibility is that rare impact found as legally structured for donation, the transparent reporting obligation for donations that I told before, they have to say all about the donations and the obligations, and then the avoidance of social washing through measurable impact. And then a comparative legal context is very important because, for example, we have two brands that they compete to rare beauty. We have Fenty Beauty, is by Rihanna, and it has a good example of what they have to do because they have diversity-driven strategy about all the products they have to follow, like rare beauty, because they also we have a very bad problem with the Black people because they don't have like the power that they want. And in one moment it was too difficult for them. They wanted to make up or something like that. They don't find the tone of her skin. So that is a very hard problem in nowadays. So for example, Fenty Beauty and Rare Beauty have like a diversity of tones to find. Then for example, we have other comparative note that is not as good as Rare Beauty. We have Kylie Cosmetic because it's an influencer ownership and it has a IP uses. It's like more like a normal brand with no commitment with like anything. It's a normal brand. It is. So that is my presentation about Rare Beauty. If you have any question, you can answer. I hope you like it. Like it's a way to see that only no makeup can have a commitment with problems that we have in the actuality. It's not only makeup. So that's good. As if you buy Rare Beauty, you will help to the health awareness. So that's it. Thank you for everyone.
Thank you, Cristina. Thank you so much. Big bravo. Thank you so much. Okay, so let me take care of a screen and slowly introduce you to the new topic and new presenter. As now it will be Julia, right, joining us right from here from this from studio, right, live, right. Right from here, from this class. Well, Julia will be presenting about Gucci. That is many faces of Gucci. So maybe you would like to show your face as well from right where you stay. Maybe mute yourself for now. No? So, okay, so you cannot. All right, but you can start maybe sharing your screen.
Hello everyone. Is it visible?
Not yet, I think. I guess I'm still sharing mine. So let's try now. Let me have a look. Let me. Right, try that again, please. Maybe. Maybe I should have a tab somewhere. Or I can have first. Oh, you got it, right? You can see it. Can you see it? Yes. I guess you can see it. It's getting a little bit complicated if you navigate it from here being online and offline at the same time. So Julia Jankowska, this is it. Faces of Gucci. So this is a beautiful presentation, but it will give you more insights, not just to the House of Gucci itself, but also to the strategies that were used, including the fortress strategy, hedging strategy, and artification. So I hand over to Julia. Thank you.
Once again, hello everyone. My name is Julia Jankowska, and I'm a student of University of Silesia in Katowice. Today, I'd like to present a paper titled Faces of Gucci, from grayscale to streetwear.
Maybe you need to stop and then just
In my presentation, I will explain the history of the brand and its iconic designs, contemporary identity of Gucci, strategies adopted by the brand, and lastly, analysis of competitive advantages and disadvantages. Starting with the history, Gucci, the founder of the House of Gucci, was born in Florence on March 26, 1881. He moved to London and in 1897 began working as a porter at the Savoy Hotel. There he watched wealthy travelers, their luggage, habits, and expectations, and that experience shaped his ambition. In 1902, he returned to Florence to create travel goods so refined that they would one day carry his own name. After years, in 1921, he opened the first Gucci boutique in Florence. Gucci began as a luggage maker, specializing in luxury travel items for Italy's upper classes. Early on, the brand also produced equestrian equipment, but over the decades, the house evolved far beyond its origins in luggage, becoming what it is today, a global symbol of Italian craft and visionary creativity. In the late 1930s, Gucci introduced canvas into its product to improve durability. This was a response to shortage linked to a League of Nations embargo against Italy, imposed after Italy's 1935 invasion of Ethiopia. For companies relying on important materials, this created real constraints and pushed makers to experiment with alternatives. Out of this moment came out one of the Gucci's earliest distinctive textiles, the diamond fabric, recognizable for its diamond motif. Over time, that pattern became a foundation for the brand's visual identity. In fact, it directly influenced Gucci's later monogram, which was developed in the 1960s. In 1949, Gucci introduced what would become one of the house's most recognizable innovations, the Gucci Bamboo Collection. The first bamboo handle handbag was initially made in pigskin. With limited access to leather, Gucci looked for a solution that was both practical and distinctive. His answer was bamboo. By using bamboo for the handle, Gucci reduced reliance on scarce materials and created an element that stood out immediately. The bamboo handle bag went on to define a new chapter in Gucci's design identity. In the 1950s, Gucci introduced the horsebit loafer, a design that quickly became a landmark in fashion history. Its defining feature, the metal horsebit detail, drew directly from Gucci's equestrian heritage. What made the loafer especially influential was its reach. It became an international sensation at the time when fashion trends were still largely shaped within national borders. Around this period, Gucci also strengthened its global presence, becoming a pioneer of Italian design in the United States. A key milestone was the opening of the first American Gucci store at the Savoy Plaza Hotel in New York. By the 1960s, the horsebit loafer evolved again with the introduction of a women's version. Early models featured a more tapered silhouette with a higher heel. The loafer's culture and design importance was formally recognized in 1985 when it was added to the permanent collection of the Metropolitan Museum of Art. In 1958, Gucci created a new handbag, originally known as the Constance. However, in 1964, the name was changed to Jackie, after Jacqueline Kennedy was frequently seen carrying this style. In the 1960s, Gucci also introduced one of its most celebrated patterns. Artist and set designer Vittorio Cornero designed the floral print for Princess Grace Kelly of Monaco, creating a detailed floral motif that became a signature of the house. In 1966, Gucci translated that design into a scarf, helping establish printed silk accessories as a core part of the brand's identity. By this point, Gucci was no longer defined only by accessories. The house also expanded its offering to include clothing around this time. In 1970s, Gucci became closely associated with the most visible figures of the era. This placed the brand at the center of elite global culture, where what people wore was not only about fashion, but also about status and influence. Gucci helped to shape the idea of luxury as a complete lifestyle. By then, the house had also firmly established itself internationally. Gucci expanded beyond Italy with boutiques in major luxury capitals, including New York, London, and Paris, turning the brand into a global presence. This period was dominated by internal family disputes and public accusations, including tax evasion claims, which placed the company under intense scrutiny and weakened its stability. In 1981, Gucci also staged its very first ready-to-wear fashion show inside Palazzo Pitti in Florence, with the runway built around the classic floral pattern. As the decade ended, a major turning point followed. In the late 1980s, Investcorp acquired nearly half of Gucci. Over the course of the early 1990s, the remaining shares were sold as well, and the Gucci family's direct ties to ownership were cut. With control transferred to new ownership, the brand's direction began to change. In an effort to grow quickly, Gucci moved toward wider distribution and more standardized production. It harmed the sense of exclusivity, and the brand luxury image began to weaken as a result. In 1991, Tom Ford officially made his debut as Gucci's head designer. His goal was clear: restore Gucci's prestige and make it feel desirable again. Because of Ford, Gucci was no longer seen as a troubled legacy label, but as a leading force once more. He wanted to bring back the edge Gucci had in the 50s and 60s, updating that bold spirit for a new era while keeping the house's identity intact. In 2004, Frida Giannini became Gucci's creative director and carried forward much of aesthetic that had defined the Tom Ford era. Under her direction, many designs leaned strongly into visible branding, logos, and monograms, which become central elements across accessories and ready-to-wear, helping Gucci maintain instant recognizability and commercial strength. In the early 2010s, Gucci began shifting away from large, highly visible logos and moved toward a more restrained, quiet luxury direction. Within that evolution, Frida Giannini revisited some of the Gucci's most iconic designs. She brought back the classic floral print and introduced modern updates of signature handbags, including refreshed versions of Jackie and the bamboo bag. During the late 2010s, the WG logo and Gucci monograms became one of the most fashionable and instantly recognizable designs in the industry. The logo was embraced as a central style statement and a symbol of status and trend awareness. At the same time, the overall aesthetic shifted toward maximalism. Gucci began mixing bold patterns, layered styling, and retro references with contemporary energy, especially the influence of streetwear. Today, Gucci operates as a subsidiary of Kering SA, one of the world's major luxury groups. The company is led by CEO Stefano Cantino. On the creative side, Gucci appointed Demna, widely known for his work at Balenciaga, as an artistic director. Commercially, Gucci remains one of the most powerful names in luxury, generating multi-billion euro revenue, and it continues to be one of the group's most important businesses. Globally, Gucci operates hundreds of stores and sells a full range of luxury categories, positioning the brand as a complete lifestyle house, not only a fashion label. Gucci's mission today is to create innovative luxury fashion that stays rooted in its Italian heritage while continuously pushing forward with modern creativity and bold design. At the center of that mission is craftsmanship, delivering high-quality pieces that feel distinctive, personal, and exclusive. Products that allow people to express individuality through design, materials, and details. Gucci's vision is to remain one of the most influential and forward-thinking luxury houses in the world by leading with creativity and cultural relevance, setting trends rather than following them. At the same time, the brand aims to help shape the future of luxury through responsibility. Gucci uses a range of strategies to maintain its position in the luxury market, and I would like to present a few key examples. Premium pricing is a business strategy where a brand deliberately sets prices above the market average in order to signal superior value. Gucci uses premium pricing to protect its position as a luxury house and to keep its product desirable. By limiting availability and avoiding constant discounting, the brand maintains the sense that its products are special and not meant for everyone. An example is the Jackie bag. Introduced as an iconic Gucci handbag and later reinforced through modern reinterpretations, the Jackie shows how premium pricing functions over time. As the bag's cultural status and brand value increased, the price could rise as well. The product becomes an investment in identity and prestige, not just a practical accessory. A fortress strategy is the way a luxury brand protects what makes it valuable, but by building strong defenses around its identity. For Gucci, the main goal is to prevent imitation and protect exclusivity. The strongest wall in that fortress is trademarks. Gucci protects its name and its most recognizable symbols, especially logos and monograms. So they function in two ways. They create instant recognition for customers, and they give the brand legal tools to act against counterfeits and unauthorized use. Notable trademarks include not only many versions of the logo, but also phrases, including Gucci Garden, Blind for Love, or Gucci Flora. Flora print, red and green stripe, and different kinds of hardware also became important trademarks. Second supporting pillar is control of distribution. Simply managing where products are sold and how they are presented, so the brand stays premium and consistent. And finally, Gucci reinforces the fortress through a distinctive design identity. Repeated signature codes that make the product immediately identifiable and hard to replace. Altogether, it is legal protection, brand recognition, and controlled exclusivity, working together to defend Gucci's position in the market. A localization strategy is when a global brand adapts products and marketing to a specific region's culture, while still keeping its core identity consistent worldwide. The point is to feel locally relevant without stopping being Gucci. A clear example is Lunar New Year. Gucci often prepares special lunches timed to this holiday by using symbolism people associate with it. And we can see this directly in the slides. There are Gucci Lunar New Year collections for the Year of the Pig, Year of the Rabbit, and the Year of the Dog. It is visible how Gucci keeps recognizable brand codes, but still adjusts them to match a culturally important moment. Artification as a business strategy is when a luxury brand links itself to the art world to increase perceived value. Gucci uses artification in a very concrete way through Gucci Garden Galleria in Florence. It is not positioned primarily as a retail, however, there is a store located there too. It is built around curated exhibition rooms that frame Gucci's history, motifs, and archival objects in a museum-like format. Using this strategy deepens the story, makes the brand feel more timeless, and creates experience that customers can associate with art and institutions, not simply shopping. The same logic appears when Gucci icons enter major museums. The Metropolitan Museum of Art's Costume Institute holds Gucci loafers in its collection. From a business perspective, museum inclusion acts like a third-party endorsement. It signals that the design has lasting importance, which reinforces brand authority and helps justify premium pricing. The hedging strategy in business is about reducing risk by not relying on only one product category or one source of revenue. If demand weakens in one area, the brand can stay stable because other categories continue to perform. In luxury, this is especially useful because trends change quickly and some categories are more sensitive to economic cycles than others. Gucci applies this strategy by operating as a multi-category lifestyle house. It is not limited to leather goods and clothing. Along handbags and ready-to-wear, Gucci also sells shoes and accessories, watches, jewelry, fragrances, makeup, and even some home-related lines. This diversification spreads risk across different customer needs and price points. A customer might postpone buying a bag, but still purchase a fragrance, makeup, or some kind of small accessory. Market segmentation is the strategy of dividing customers into different groups and then shaping products and messaging to match what each group actually wants. For luxury brands, this is especially useful because luxury buyers are not one type of customers. People buy luxury for different reasons and they look for different aesthetics. Gucci uses segmentation by offering multiple style directions under one brand identity. It speaks to customers who prefer classic elegance, minimalism, maximalism, streetwear, quiet luxury, vintage-inspired design, or heritage motifs. By designing for several customer segments at once, the brand stays relevant across different tastes, age groups, and global markets, and it becomes more resilient when trends shift. Now, I would like to proceed with the analysis of strategic advantages and disadvantages. Gucci's strength began with its strong history and Italian heritage, which give the brand authenticity. It also benefits from global presence and recognition. Another advantage is its diverse product portfolio, which helps the brand reach different customer segments. Gucci is also backed by a strong parent company, Kering, and it continues to rely on strong creative direction and high visibility collaborations to stay culturally relevant. Gucci collaborated with brands as famous as Disney, Adidas, Balenciaga, and the North Face. At the same time, Gucci also has some weaknesses. It depends heavily on luxury market, which can be sensitive to economic changes. It is also tied to fashion trend cycles, meaning demand can fluctuate when styles shift. And its high price points, while supporting exclusivity, can limit access and create pressure to constantly justify value. Looking at opportunities, Gucci can keep expanding in Asia and other emerging markets, where luxury demand has long-term growth potential. There is also a clear opportunity to strengthen leadership in sustainability and ethical luxury, which is increasingly important to customers. Finally, further collaborations can bring new audiences and renewed excitement. And the threats are also significant. Competition in luxury market is intense. Counterfeiting constantly risks damaging brand value, and any broader economic downturn can quickly reduce spending on luxury goods. Gucci is affected by trade regulations, import and export rules, and taxation. In some regions, weak intellectual property protection can increase risk, especially by making counterfeiting easier. Economically, Gucci's performance is closely tied to customer purchasing power and overall global economic conditions. Because the company operates internationally, exchange rate fluctuations can also affect profitability. Socially, Gucci targets high-income customers, and their changing tastes strongly shape the brand's design choices, branding, and communication. Cultural trends and lifestyle shifts can quickly influence what customers consider desirable. Technologically, digital routes support Gucci's growth through e-commerce, online marketing, and more efficient supply chains. Technology also improves the customer experience by strengthening engagement and personalization. From a legal perspective, Gucci must follow labor, consumer, and intellectual property laws across many markets. Fighting counterfeit goods through legal action is especially important because it protects both brand value and customer trust. Finally, environmental factors are increasingly central. Gucci faces growing pressure from regulators and customers to reduce its environmental impact, use sustainable materials, and ensure ethical sourcing. Its sustainability efforts help meet expectations and support the brand's long-term reputation. And that will be it from me, and I would like to thank you all very much for your attention.
All right, bravo. The light presentation, Jan Zalega. Yeah, very dashing and chic. So, wow. Yeah. Thank you for noticing that. Yeah, we all spent quite a lot of time preparing for this day. And the day as we have been studying for over a couple of months and then gaining and sharing some inspirations. But Julia, indeed, great taste for aesthetics. So now moving on to some further aesthetics with Miu Miu, a fashion house of Italy, actually a daughter of Prada, right? So that's what it is. So please welcome Magda, who will be presenting from my spot here. Let me just check representation for her. And as I said, so maybe full screen mode if you like. Or how do I do this? Right here. So I hope that the slides are visible, right? All is good, working. So thank you, Professor José, for nodding. So as I said, and this Magda, here's your spot. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Magda and I'm very pleased to be able to present and share knowledge with you about Miu Miu and its business strategy for the 21st century. All right, so let's right off the bat, let's jump into it because we don't have much time. So as you know, Miu Miu is Italian high fashion company, and what is very important is subsidiary to Prada. So as you may remember, it was referred as Prada's daughter, like young or young sister, depends. So the thing is that there is this idea in marketing that you use what you already have. Yes, and Miu Miu actually does that. So what do they have? First thing first, they also first thing first, they have Italian heritage, right? Because when you think about Italy, what do you think about? Food, fashion, maybe cars, right? So already from the very beginning, they have an upper hand right here, and that's good. That's good. Of course, it also leads to the conclusion that, well, market is also full of similar products, and it may bring some saturation. But here, what is so important is that Miu Miu is related to Prada, and this is very strongly linked. All right, so youthful sister brand, that's the thing. Miu Miu is all about brand identity. Therefore, as you can see in some articles, what is really underlined that Miu Miu is young brand, and it is. You know, it was here, as you can see, established in 1993. And it's avant-garde, it's twisted and challenging, and has very specific vision. And it's also one of the main target audience is Asia. So when it comes to Miu Miu, the most important part is brand identity. So what is brand identity, you may ask? Well, it can be brands, waiting room. Should I admit? Okay, I'll just admit. Sorry. And what it is vision, mission, all the tangible stuff that company owns. Also, it might be logo, it might be a slogan, etc., and general overall visual appeal and some kind of concept between this brand. So, what is brand awareness? Is this state in which people generally recognize brand by those things, right? So brand identity brings brand awareness. And what is brand identity when it comes to Miu Miu? Well, generally it revolves around art, ecology, feminism, social media, exclusivity and inclusivity, and IPR, which will be later. Everything will be covered later. All right, next one. Okay, so here you can see general visual indicators of Miu Miu. And if you ask me, I see a lot of this feminist impact. I really like the lady on the left. She kind of reminds me of, like lady who cook at my school, the very specific apron-like dress, you could say, which might be tied to feminism. Also, there are rather young women, and it also looks a bit quirky, if you ask me. So, but also a bit luxurious. So, let's go to the next one. If the program will allow me to. All right, too far. Just give me a second. Here we go. So mission and vision. So once again, what do we have in here? Experimentation, femininity, intellectuality, creativity. So all those things that are constitutes of identity brand may also result in some IPRs, right? So intellectual property rights. And for example, know-how when it comes to experimentation, creativity, when it comes to copyrights and trademarks, and some intellectual stuff that we may use later in NDAs. And how to use them, you may ask. Well, that's a good question because I'll tell you about it here. So, first thing first, what is important is to conduct a customer segmentation. So basically you want to just kind of create your customer model. And as you may already guess, who's that for Miu Miu? It's a usually young lady who's into art, intellectual stuff, and she wants to be outstanding, right? So when it comes to customer segmentation, what is important? For example, socioeconomic qualities like income, education, profession. You can see that in Miu Miu. Psychophysical stuff like lifestyle, hobbies, opinions, demographic, age, gender, and behavioral knowledge about a product and loyalty. So what will be later very important? This will be this loyalty. Here we have age, gender, and also lifestyle. So nowadays, back in the days when you wanted to buy something, you would go to brick and mortar, see something on the shelf, buy it maybe or not. You could leave the shop and that would be it. But nowadays it's a bit different because we have this ASAS, sorry, to admit. Okay, so AISAS model. So what is it about? It's about attention, interest, search, action, and share. So all those things are about catching attention of prospect, and then later suggest buying, like make them buy our product. So prospect behavior models. So what is important is customer journey map. What is this? Because nowadays with all the big data and huge analysis processings, etc., we can imagine customers' purchase process, purchase process made by customer as a one big journey. And that is reliant on data and a lot of processing power. So let's start with zero moment of truth, because I think it's one of the oldest from here, one of the oldest ideas. So what is zero moment of truth? Basically, before, back in the days, before you would go to the internet, you would first check it before you would go to the shop, you would first check it on the internet, right? So we'll conduct a little research, maybe you would ask around, and this is zero moment of truth. So gathering information. Later, first moment of truth is actually purchasing, going to the shop and buying this product. And later, the second moment of truth is actually experience. But nowadays it looks a bit different because, it comes to messy middle. What is messy middle? Well, it is generally a whole journey that customer goes through because I'm sure you know it from experience, right? Before buying something, you conduct a lot of research, you compare things, right? You ask people and you gather all the data, and sometimes you don't even make a purchase, So it's like just a boiling pot of everything. And yes, and how we can use it in marketing? Well, basically, so it's also non-linear, which is important. And we have exploration mode when a customer looks for information, and we have evaluation, the phase where customer narrows down the options. So behavioral principle is to guide customer through the messy middle. So what we want is we want to be like a guide, right? Of course, we want to guide the customer to our product. So we can use some heuristic. So basically, what are those? Those are shortcuts in a thinking, right? So basically, you want to see a picture, you think, okay, Miu Miu, good product, you want to buy it. So how can we use it? We can use power of social proof, right? So other people say it's good. Authority bias. So you can, like, for example, think about some endorsement and influencers. And also scarcity and exclusivity. So basically, you want to make prospect customers feel like this is a great occasion, great deal. And marketing tactics could be strengthening brand presence, adapting agile marketing. And let me also show it here. And when it comes to loyalty, I thought we'll come back to it. It's like one. Okay, whatever. So there are different types of this loyalty, but most important for us, it will be advocacy. So what is advocacy type? So this is active promotion. This is this kind of loyalty where a customer actually actively goes out, so here on the internet, and talks about our product. And we want to make them talk in a positive manner. So as we first establish model of Miu Miu client, it is a young female lady who's into art, etc. And this is why Miu Miu uses artification. So actually, as you can see, here are some collaborations with artists, and there's also actually a few movies. There are actually a few movies made by Miu Miu that supports this image of, free-spirited, youthful, and creative brands. And here, about digital transformation of the market. So actually, I kind of already told you about it, but what is important to add, that nowadays companies must be proactive and they must reach the customer. And to do that, they have some instruments such as AI, machine learning, and advanced analytics. And if you have social media, I'm sure you all, or most of you all, have social medias. Social media. You've heard about microtrends, microtrends, and viral content. Maybe you've heard about clean girl aesthetic. Have you? Or office siren, dark academia, those things. So it can be a bit finicky because, Miu Miu kind of relies on trends, which is on one hand good, right? Because it's trendy, people talk about you. So as you can see, if you talk about clean girl, you kind of get on with this trend. On the other hand, when the trend dies, well, you also have to be flexible enough just to leave it behind. And we have communication with prospective customers. Back in the days, traditional goals were to inform, persuade, and remind customers. Now, because of the internet, we have different modes of behavior. We have also education, competing, engaging, building experience, right? Building experience and engaging will be super important. And here we have some instruments we have already discussed, like big data or data, AI. Also, what is EWOM? So this is internet, like word of mouth. So, back in the days, you would ask family, what do you think about it? Maybe your friends. Nowadays, you can go onto forum, I don't know where you go, TikTok, Reddit, whatever, and you can ask around. So we can use it, right? And PR is also very important because you want to have good relationship with your prospects. So state of the market. When a company enters the market, it's important first to have some kind of identity and also pay attention to some to those factors like economic factors, social factors, political, legal, etc. When it comes to Miu Miu, and I use this chart, it comes from a book, Marketing, so let me just check it. It's Marketing Sztuka Konkurowania.
Yes.
Well, yeah. It's like, the author, right? So I had to because it's not mine, so I have to say.
Yeah, obviously, he's the only one. So everybody knows who's that. So no worries.
So we have business offerings full substitute, and what the ideal situation is that we don't want any, right? So we want to be unique, the only one. So business offering partial substitute, that will be Balenciaga and Gucci, because they also want to be quirky, up with the times, but it's not like they target especially female young audience, Zoomers also. And Hermes, Coco Chanel, business offering product of the same category. So we have 5 high fashion, but of different characteristics. And they have very different approach because they're more tradition, etc. And of course, we have business offering product of different category. It's not really important to us. I mean, it is, but not in the scope of this conversation. So as you can see, we have SWOT analysis about Miu Miu. And this is interesting because Miu Miu started, not so long ago. And quite recently, they were rather conservative. But now they got more aggressive with their strategy. So what are strengths? For example, great financial performance, because they did, right? Heart of product, big one. Strong digital presence and strong identity. What are the weakness? Price and accessibility. So maybe, they try to be this new, quirky, cool brand for young people. But then again, is it really accessible when it's high fashion? So it's kind of, contrary. Dependency on trends, etc. Opportunities, expansion for new products, digital commerce, collaborations, and threats. We have brand illusion risk, reputation risk, etc., which all makes sense, because back in the days, the market wasn't that good, so there were a lot of threats, but they had very strong core, so they were rather conservative. Now they are more aggressive. Also, PESEL analysis, I'll just show you it briefly. You can check it later if you would like to. And now let's jump to intellectual property of the company. So those things can be used as kind of weapons in more offensive strategies when it comes to conducting a company. Of course, we have intellectual property, and in the case of Miu Miu, it can be trademarks, which can be later so like logo, or for example, a slogan. And then we have also trade dress. So trade dress is general commercial image of a product that indicates the source of the service or the product. Here we have this rather product. Then we have design rights, which is generally form of intellectual property that protect the visual appearance, like shape, patterns, and ornamentations. And then we have copyrights. And when it comes to copyrights, Miu Miu will use it, it can use it for photographies and videos, prints and patterns, while trademarks can be used for trade dress and brand product name and logo, as I previously mentioned. Also, we have NDAs. And here you can see a table with some of those instruments, IPR instruments, and if they are quite reliable, are they sustain competitive advantage or not? So just a brief moment to look at it, and let's go to the next one. So offensive or defensive strategies. Like I told you before, previously, Mimi was rather defensive. They didn't really double in those lawsuits. That has changed. Why it has changed? Well, I have a few theories, if you ask me. One is that Miu Miu got more popular, so there are more like copycats of Miu Miu. Second one, because now this market has stabilized a bit, and what happened? COVID happened. So basically, where did people go when during the COVID times? Well, they couldn't go outside. So where they went is the internet. And this is when the strength of Miu Miu could be used, because identity and marketing strategies, they are related to marketing on internet presence. And so there was this Juju brand copy strike, and they have lost because Taiwan legislation, Taiwan power, judicial power, and they thought that it was not distinguishable, it was distinguishable enough. Sorry, it was distinguishable enough, so they didn't see it as a infringement of trademark. However, in Europe there was a Miu Miu, and once again in Taiwan there was Niu Niu thing, and they won against those companies. And we have a defensive strategy. So the first one that we can use is hybrid defense strategy. And we have the strong brand of Miu Miu. We have clothes and bags. What other things they did is perfumes. They opened some clubs. They also created some film series. Also, they opened like book club. And so, as you can see, they try their best at the different brands, different categories of market, while still keeping the strong core of their brand identity. Deterrence strategy, because they are part of Prada and they are quite loud about it, it is also a deterrent that makes other companies not want to compete with those, because Prada comes with a lot of money, a lot of reputation, and etc. We have alliance strategy, form partnership to expand reach, to share resources. Very good, very nice when it comes to the internet, because we have influencers, we have different brands like New Balance, etc. And you can showcase those products online. We have sustainability strategy. Now that's very important, like ecology is a hot topic. So why not talk about this one? And pricing strategies. So as you can see, Prada products are a bit more expensive when it comes to Miu Miu, comparing to the Miu Miu. And this also ties to their model client, because usually those are Zoomers, right? Rather, people who just acquire this purchasing power, and they don't have as much money as older generation. So it makes sense, right, to lower price a bit, but still keep it quite high because it's a high fashion brand. Yes, and how much time do we have? Okay, let's go here. Scarcity strategy. Also, like you make some products, create an urgency by limiting supply or availability. You can see it on the websites of retailers and Miu Miu. And specialized strategy building, community building. So we want to foster a loyal community around our brand. So as you can see, it all ties up to just creating a very specific client model, and then just using modern technology to create the best way of communication between brand and client, and also being agile, adjusting strategies towards this new purchasing power that are like young, probably, hopefully, young women with money that would like to showcase their originality and creativity through the brand. All right, so that's it. Any questions?
Well, so many questions indeed, but maybe not now.
Now, yes.
Save some for some discussions in the starters later. So thank you, Magda, so much. Indeed, applause. Lovely. Let me get my screen back. So, 1 second. Figure out things here on my laptop. Okay. Okay. Stop sharing. And so now moving on to bye Cristina. Well, unfortunately she's coming back to Spain tonight, so she's leaving early, but everybody else stays, right? I hope so, because we need a final picture, guys. We should have started with a picture indeed, but yeah, that's what it is. So it is Julia lining up to discuss schemes in further detail. For those that don't know, like myself, it is a brand that was established by Kim Kardashian, is that right? And so Julia will dive into some of our strategies that are supported by this brand, like community building and whatnot. So let us just find the presentation here. I think this is it. Sure. Okay. I don't know about full screen mode, but maybe you can just keep it like that, unless you have an idea. Maybe I'm here. Present full screen. There. No, sure is extending. Okay, no. No, it's not that. Full screen. Okay. I hope it is visible. Your screen sharing is paused. Can you see, Professor José, can you see the slides moving? You can. Okay, so it's perfect. We are all set. So welcome, Julia and Skims.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Julia Domagao, and today I'm going to talk about schemes and focus on its business strategies and fashion law aspects, looking at this as an example of a celebrity-founded brand.
Sorry, let me just check that. So what do I do? What do we do? Co robimy tu? Resume. Resume, maybe once. Recording, but it is being recorded. You are screen sharing. So no, now it looks good. So sharing back, that's the presentation, right? Okay. My screen. Is that can you see, José, Professor José, can you see the presentation? Yes, you can. Okay. So I guess you're good. You're good now.
So what is Skims? It is a fashion brand launched by Kim Kardashian in 2019. And Kim is not only a celebrity, but also a powerful influencer. And she used her visibility to quickly position the brand strongly in the fashion market. To give you a sense of its scale, Kim is now valued at $5 billion, making it a significant player in the industry in just a few years. Today, I will guide you through what the brand offers, who its customers are, and how it operates strategically, highlighting some of the key approaches behind its rapid growth and popularity. The idea for Skims came directly from Kim herself. For years, she struggled to find shapewear that truly matched her skin tone. There simply wasn't much variety available on the market. Before Big Events, she would even dye her own shapewear using tea bags or coffee just to get a color that felt right. This personal challenge made it clear that there was an unmet need in the market. And that brings us to the bigger picture, the gap in the shapewear industry. Most brands weren't offering products that worked for a wide range of body types and skin tones. This left many people feeling excluded or forced to compromise on fit and comfort. Skim recognized this gap and decided to address it head on. They developed shapewear in all sizes from XXS to 5XL and offered a wide spectrum of skin tones. And here you can see how the different shades and models reflect a variety of body types. The brand isn't just filling a market need, it's making inclusivity visible and tangible. And here are more examples from the shapewear line. This slide reinforces how the same core idea is applied consistently, focusing on fit, comfort, and function, while keeping a clean and modern aesthetic. Now let's take a closer look at Skim's target customers. The brand resonates strongly with younger generation, particularly millennials and Gen Z. And this chart shows that awareness and favorability are highest among these groups. People who are active on social media, follow trends, and engage with the brands they like. Older generation, on the other hand, are less familiar with Skims. This makes sense because the brand's marketing is heavily digital and focused on platforms like Instagram and TikTok, which where younger audiences spend more time. Overall, this slide gives us a clear picture of the core audience: socially active, trend conscious, and attracted to inclusive fashion that represents different body types and skin tones. And here we see some examples of that engagement in action. Customer post their Skims purchases on platforms like Instagram and TikTok, showing real people of different shapes, sizes, and backgrounds. It's a great example of Skims' engagement with their target audience, and it also hints at one of their strategies, which I will explain in more detail later. Now that we have looked at Skim's target audience, let's talk about how the brand positions itself in the market. Skim's approach is very much people-focused. It's about more than just Kim Kardashian. The brand emphasizes inclusivity, empowerment, and body positivity. As we can see in these images, Skims celebrates a wide range of bodies and life stages. It's not just about selling shapewear or clothing, it's about helping people feel represented, confident, and stylish. By offering products that adapt to different body shapes, skin tones, and lifestyle, Skims puts the customer at the center of everything. And this people approach truly sets the brand apart and reinforces its identity as one that values diversity and inclusion. Now let's take a closer look at Skim's product portfolio. The brand started with a focus on shapewear and underwear, but over time it has grown to include a much wider range of offerings, showing how it has expanded beyond its original niche. Here we can see some of the kids' products. From adult shapewear, the brand has branched out to include items for the younger customers, making the line more family-friendly. This slide shows a winter and seasonal clothing, including long sleeves, sweaters, and sweatpants. It highlights how the brand adapts to different needs and occasions while maintaining its signature style. Here we have menswear line. Expanding into men's clothing is another way the brand reaches a broader audience and offers products that appeal to more customers beyond its original focus. And finally, we have accessories like slippers, sleep masks, and face wraps. These products reinforce the brand's lifestyle approach and show how Skims has evolved into a complete fashion and comfort brand. Now, let's take a look at brand from a strategic perspective through a SWOT analysis. On the strength side, Skims has built a highly recognizable brand boosted by Kim Kardashian visibility and offers an inclusive range of products in multiple sizes and skin tones. Its strong presence on social media also keeps it closely connected to its audience and consistently visible. For weaknesses, the brand's identity is closely linked to Kim herself. While this brings major attention, it also means that any negative perception of her could impact the brand. Other challenges include a limited number of physical stores and the perception by some that Skims is mainly a shapewear brand. Looking at opportunities, there is plenty of potential for growth, from new product categories to strategic partnerships and attracting fresh customer segments. Threats include fierce competition in both fashion and shapewear, fast-changing consumer trends, and of course, the reputational risks that come with being a celebrity-led brand. Okay, now let's move on to Skims' key strategies. I walk you through 5 main approaches they use to reach customers, create demand, and build their brand: bypass, alliance, community engagement, scarcity, and price skimming. The first strategy we are going to talk about is bypass strategy. Skims used this approach by launching as a fully direct-to-consumer brand in 2019, selling exclusively through their own website. By avoiding traditional retail channels, they kept full control over pricing, branding, and the overall customer experience. This allowed them to build a strong connection with their audience and ensure a consistent brand image. It paid off immediately. The first product dropped sold out in just 10 minutes, generating over $2 million in revenue. And in fact, Skims didn't open its first physical flagship store until 2024, which really shows how strong demand there was even without offline retail. Today, the brand runs around 20 stores in the US and partners with about 100 global stockists, but the majority of sales still happen online. This really emphasized the success of the direct-to-consumer approach. Now let's look at Skims' alliance strategy. This strategy is all about forming partnership with other well-known brands, organizations, or influencers. The goal is to reach new audiences, enhance credibility, and create opportunities that are mutually beneficial by teaming up with the right partners. Skims can enter new markets, generate buzz, and showcase its versatility beyond traditional shapewear. A clear example is the partnership with the NBA and WNBA, where Skims become the official underwear partner. This collaboration connects the brand with sports fans, expands visibility beyond conventional fashion channels, and highlights how Skims can appeal to communities outside its core audience. Another example is the collaboration with Nike. Partnering with a globally recognized sportswear brand allows Skims to associate itself with performance, innovation, and credibility in activewear. This joint collection generates excitement, attract media attention, and reach customers who might not have discovered the brand through typical fashion outlets. Skims has also worked with the North Face, which opens the door to outdoor and performance markets. Limited edition collections like this blend fashion with functionality and keep the brand relevant across different lifestyle segments. Finally, Skims collaborates with luxury and lifestyle brands such as Swarovski, Dolce & Gabbana, and Fendi. These partnerships elevate Skims' image, connect the brand to affluent audiences, and reinforces its position as a premium, trend-driven name in the fashion market. Overall, these alliances show that Skims isn't just about shapewear, it's about versatility, cultural relevance, and reaching diverse audiences while maintaining a cohesive brand identity. And now let's look at Skims community building strategy. This is closely tied to what we saw earlier with the target audience, mainly millennials and Gen Z, who are very active on social media like Instagram and TikTok. Skim uses social media to share behind-the-scenes content, previews of new products, and highlights from events and photo shoots. What really makes this strategy stand out, though, is the focus on user-generated content. Real customers of all body types, skin tones, and backgrounds are featured wearing Skims products. This approach does a few things at once. It shows authenticity, makes the brand relatable, and encourages fans to post their own photos, hoping to be featured. That engagement spreads awareness naturally and strengthens the connection between the brand and its community. So in short, Skims isn't just selling clothes, they are building a community. These strategies driven loyalty and trust while also amplifying the brand's visibility without relying solely on paid advertising. Next, let's take a look at Skims scarcity strategy. This is all about creating limited availability to build excitement and a sense of urgency among customers. One way they do this is through special edition products. These are released only at certain events or in collaboration with artists and celebrities, which makes them feel unique and collectible. For example, there was the Valentine's Day collaboration with Lana Del Rey and a holiday campaign featuring Snoop Dogg. This special edition generate buzz, attract media attention, and get fans talking, all while reinforcing the brand's image as exclusive and trend-driven. Second, the brand often does limited drops online, releasing new collection in small quantities on their website. These drops sell out quickly, which keeps customer coming back and checking for new items. It is a way to generate excitement while maintaining exclusivity. And finally, all of these strategies combine to create FOMO, fear of missing out. Customers know that if they don't act quickly, they might miss the product entirely. And this urgency drives faster purchases and increases engagement on social media as fans share what they have secured. Another key strategy Skims uses is price skimming. This means they launch new products at a high initial price, which helps the brand maximize early profits and reinforces the perception of exclusivity. At the same time, Skims maintains consistent pricing across size and colors, which supports their commitment to inclusivity. Every customer pays the same regardless of size or shade. They also offer a few discounts, which help maintain the premium perception of the brand. Customers understand that the products are worth the investment. On this slide, you can see examples, limited edition collaboration like Skims and North Face line sold out within hours, and some products even require joining a wait list. You can also see occasional promotion, but overall Skims keep pricing stable to protect the brand image. And now let's move on to how Skims protects its intellectual property and defends its competitive edge. The brand owns global trademark for its name, logo, and product lines, which prevents others from using them without permission. It also holds copyrights for its website, image, videos, and marketing materials. Skims go further by investing in design and utility patents, protecting real product innovation. A great example is the Skims Shaper Solution shorts for high slit skirts and dresses. These shorts have an asymmetrical leg design, covering one thigh more than the other, while still giving the smoothing and sculpting benefits of shapewear. This product is protected by a US patent and internationally through WIPO, giving Skims exclusive rights around the world. The brand is also active in legal enforcement, especially against counterfeits online. They also manage how user-generated content is used, keeping control even when featuring customers' posts. As a side note, the brand was originally going to be called Kimono, but after global backlash over cultural appropriation, including a letter from Kyoto's mayor, Skims rebranded. And this story shows how important legal, financial, and cultural considerations are when building a global brand. And despite Skims' impressive growth and innovative approach, sustainability remains a key challenge. The brand promotes eco-friendly initiatives on its website, but independent organizations and critics question the real environmental impact. Many Skims products rely on synthetic fabrics like nylon and spandex. While these materials are essential for shapewear performance, they contribute to microplastic pollution and greenhouse gas emissions. Production in countries such as China and Thailand also raises ongoing concerns about labor conditions in the fast fashion industry. There have been claims of greenwashing, for example, with packaging marked as compostable that still contains plastic-based components. Given Skim's size and financial resources, there's strong expectation for more transparent and meaningful sustainability practices. So looking ahead, Skims has built a very strong market position through innovative strategies, smart branding, and protection of its intellectual property. The brand has shown it can scale quickly while maintaining exclusivity and strong consumer engagement. However, its long-term success will depend on how it addresses sustainability and ethical practices. With its influence, resources, and global reach, Skim is unequally positioned not just to follow industry trends, but to actively shape the future of fashion. How the brand responds to these challenges will likely define its next stage of growth. And here are the sources I used for this presentation, and thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Julia. So let me jump back into the place of a presenter. Okay, and I'll stop sharing for now as we have two students from Spain sharing now from all across the room, but from their own computers, right? So starting with Aether, hi, good to see you again. So indeed, Aether and Balenciaga. So you will learn about Faber strategies and their moves with this or from this case study. So thank you so much. Lovely to have you, Spain, with us tonight. And the screen is all yours. Let's try sharing now.
Okay. Good? Yeah.
Yes. Okay, lovely. Thank you.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Héctor de la Torre. I come from Barcelona, Spain, and now I'm going to analyze the case of Balenciaga, not just a fashion brand, but as an example of how provocation can become a business strategy with important legal implications. I decided to focus my work on Balenciaga because it's one of the more relevant cases in the contemporary fashion industry. The brand combines luxury, creativity, aggressive marketing, and legal controversy in a particular complex way. It's a company that has integrated provocation as a central element within its business model. The objective of this presentation is to analyze how provocation can function as a business strategy What its limits are from the perspective of fashion law, and whether this type of strategy can be considered sustainable in the long term. Okay, this is the index that I have followed. First of all, I'm gonna do an introduction, then I will talk about provocation as a business strategy, the case of Balenciaga, comparisons, conclusions, and to conclude, the bibliography. Okay, to begin, I would like to ask a question that will with the entire presentation. Can a luxury brand afford any kind of provocation? Or are there legal and business limits that should not be crossed? So before talking specifically about Balenciaga, it's important to understand what provocation means as a business strategy. When we talk about provocation in a business context, we are not referring to an accidental controversy, but to the deliberate use of shock, controversy, or discomfort to capture attention, differentiate from the competition, and generate symbolic value for the brand. In the fashion industry, this strategy works especially well for several reasons. First, fashion operates within the attention economy. Brands don't only compete to sell products, but to occupy space in the consumer's mind. In an environment dominated by social media, extremely fast trend cycles, provocation generates immediate visibility and media amplification. Second, fashion has always been linked to transgression and the breaking of social norms. Provocation allows brands to position themselves as innovative, disruptive, or culturally relevant, especially among young audience. So, from a business perspective, a provocation can increase the perceived value of the brand, justify higher prices, and strengthen a strong and differentiated identity. However, this strategy also involves important risks. From a business point of view, risk of consumers boycotts, loss of trust from investors, or partners and long-term reputational damage. From a legal perspective, issues related to unlawful advertising, violation of rules regarding the protection of minors, civil liability and breach of contracts with ambassadors or collaborators. This is where Balenciaga becomes a particularly interesting case, because the brand doesn't only use the provocation, but integrates the risk into its business strategy, consciously assuming the possible of consequence. To understand the case of Balenciaga, it's important to start with an overview of his history and its brand DNA. Balenciaga was founded by Cristóbal Balenciaga, a prestigious Spanish fashion designer, considered one of the most important figures in haute couture. For decades, the brand was associated with values such as elegance, artisanal excellence, and formal innovation. However, with the arrival of Demna as creative director, the brand underwent a radical break from its past. Balenciaga stopped relying primarily on its historical heritage and began to build its identity around provocation, irony, and cultural critique. Today, Balenciaga is positioned as a conceptual luxury brand aimed at global young and highly digital audience. Its strategy is not intended to please everyone, but to polarize, generate debate, and remain constantly at the center of cultural conversation. Balenciaga provocation is not occasional. It manifests itself in the design of its products, its communication, advertising campaigns, fashion shows, and more. From a strategic point of view, this provocation serves several purposes. If it strengthens a unique brand identity, generates constant media visibility and turns each collection into a cultural event. However, this strategy comes at a cost, especially from a legal perspective. The brand has faced challenges such as the withdrawal of advertising campaigns, reputational crisis, and legal and contractual reactions. This situation demonstrates that Balenciaga doesn't only design fashion, but also manage legal risk as part of its business operation. The brand responses to this crisis, public apologies, content withdrawal, internal review, are part of a damage control strategy, typical of companies operating in a high-risk reputational environment. From the perspective of fashion law, Balenciaga shows how creativity and business strategy are increasingly conditioned by legal considerations and social responsibility. To better understand to what extent provocation can become a business strategy, it's useful to observe how different luxury brands use it in very different ways. Analyzing this approach allows us to identify not only creative difference, but also different business models, levels of risk assumed, and ways of managing legal and reputational frameworks. In the case of Balenciaga, its model can be analyzed mainly as a guerrilla strategy. The brand launched highly provocative actions with significant media impact, which generates enormous visibility at a relatively low cost compared to traditional advertising, but involve a high level of legal and reputational risk. Batman also uses a strategy close to guerrilla, although its provocative actions are aimed at a more specific audience and have much lower media exposure, which considerably reduce legal and reputational risks. In this case, provocation is not used as a driver for large-scale growth, but rather as a tool for differentiation and brand identify. Okay. This provocation shows that the same strategy, provocation as a guerrilla, can have very different consequences depending on the size of the company, its corporate structure, and its capacity to manage legal risks. A different contrast is observed when analyzing Gucci strategies. Unlike Balenciaga, Gucci can be interpreted through a fortress strategy, focused on protecting brand value, maintaining reputational stability, and preventing legal risk. Although Gucci incorporates creative and provocative elements, these are carefully controlled and aligned with compliance mechanisms, corporate communication, and social responsibility. In addition, Gucci complements this fortress strategy with an encirclement strategy, expanding its presence across multiple segments of the luxury market: fashion, accessories, fragrance, and lifestyle, and occupying different cultural spaces without resorting to extreme controversy. In this way, the brand ensures its leadership through the diversification and consolidation, minimizing exposure to legal conflicts or reputational crises. This strategic difference demonstrates that there is no single way to compete in the luxury market. While Balenciaga opts for a high-risk strategy, Gucci prioritizes stability, sustainable growth, and the protection of long-term brand value. To conclude, the case of Balenciaga demonstrates that provocation can function as a competitive advantage within the fashion industry, but is not without consequence. Provocation allows a brand to generate visibility, reinforce its identity, and provide high symbolic value. However, it also significantly increases legal, reputational, and business risk, which requires constant and professional management from both legal and corporate perspective. Therefore, a luxury brand cannot afford any kind of provocation without accepting the associated costs. The key is to determine whether the company is willing and prepared to assume this legal and reputational cost as part of its competitive strategy. It's precisely in this balance between creativity, strategy, and law that Balenciaga becomes a particularly relevant case for the study of fashion law and business strategies. So this is the bibliography I used. And to finish, I would like to say that preparing this presentation has helped me to understand how provocation can be used as a business strategy in the fashion industry. Balenciaga has shown me that how creativity, strategy, and legal considerations are interconnected. So thank you very much for your attention. I hope you found this presentation interesting, and if you have any question, I will be happy to answer them. Thank you so much.
Hey, all right, let me hand over. Thank you so much indeed. And it's really great to know that you've learned something in this class. You're meaning to have a short technical break, but I can see that a person that's supposed to take a picture of us is not here. So let's have that technical break just after Jan's presentation. So please jump in with yours. Are you also presenting from that computer, right? So right from across the room. So Jan will be talking about Nude Project, right? And its strategies. I presume it is a Spanish brand as well, isn't it? Well, as you all know, Spain has got some really beautiful brands, and I'm not just talking Balenciaga, so many premium or even fast fashion brands, right? So, but especially premium, that tap into sustainability and an amazing understanding of a customer. So please, have a try. All right, we got it. Uh-huh. We got it. Right. So perfect. Lovely. Okay, so the screen is all yours and good luck.
Sorry. No, perfect. Good.
I'm look okay, yes? Okay. Well, hello. My name is John Sierra. I'm an Erasmus student. I study law in the University of Barcelona, and I'm come here to learn a lot in Poland, in concretely in Katowice, in one of the most prestigious universities. And I'm here to learn a lot of my professors, and I want to share with you my knowledge about this semester, and I hope that you can enjoy like I enjoyed me this month. And today I will presenting I think a revolutionary clothing brand that has broken all conventional patterns and has been one of the best selling brands in Spain. I think the past 2 years, this brand was created 5 years ago, approximately in the COVID year, and I think 2 years ago was the boom, and now is one of the best, one of the clothes more sold in Spain, young people. The name is Nude Project. Okay, before going to the core of the presentation, I would like to explain why I choose this brand and not another brand. One of the reasons is sure, of course, it's a brand from Spain, and it's a brand from all the young people of Spain and dress with this brand, with these clothes. But I want to go more away. So I think nowadays entrepreneurship it's more accessible than ever. But however, at the same time, we are living in the most competitive period in history, and I think. Yes. And I think nowadays it's in the same time very difficult because it's we have a lot of competition, and the new brands have a lot have I think 0.000 percentage to have good clients and have a lot of sell the clothes. Instead of focusing exclusively on the product or its aesthetics, this presentation will concentrate on a specific legal strategy that clearly stands out in this case. After many hours of analyzing to understand the key of this success of this brand, I think there's no doubt about it. So when we talk about a new project, this brand, we are talking also about the brand protection strategy, the marketing, and also know as a fortress strategy. So now with the introduction completely, and having hopefully create some intrigue in the room, I will move on the key to its success. And I think so. Node Project does not sell only clothing; it sells identity, community, and a new lifestyle in the young people. Okay, this is my index, Node Project, identity and brand model, mine strategy, brand protection and fortress strategy, from the garment to a brand ecosystem, legal sub-strategies, marketing, influencers and image rights, copyright and design protection, legal risks, conclusion, and the bibliography. Okay, another project, identity and brand model. Unlike many of the most popular and widely worn clothing brands in Spain, Node Project does not compete in the market as traditional fashion brand. So, on the contrary, its competitive advantages lies precisely is doing the opposite. So it does not base its success primarily on low prices or technical innovation in the fabrics. So elements that usually come to mind when we think of new fashion brands entering the market. So instead, New Project focuses on something so more intangible. So built around three key elements, I think. The first it's identity. So Node Project produced a new identity to young people. So identity is the set of values, aesthetics, personality that an object represents in a consistent and recognizable way. So the second one is the message that produced. The message is what the object communicates to the outside world about the person who wears it. And the belonging is the emotional and social bond that the object creates between the person who owns in a specific group. From a fashion law perspectives, this is crucial because the company's main values does not lie in the textile product itself, but in the intangible assets surrounding the brand. So first of all, I want to say that it is essential to emphasize that the garment becomes a means, not an end. So it's like the instrument. When someone buys Nude Project, they do not buy just a hoodie. They buy more. They buy, like I say, a way to expressing themselves, an aesthetic, and a connection to a specific community. So I just saying that are breaking with all the traditional brands. It's something different, and the young people in Spain, this is one of the products more sold in Spain nowadays, is because are breaking, and the young people wants that. So let's talk about my strategy, brand protection, fortress strategy. I think the core of the essential part of the presentation. This is where we entered to the legal core of the presentation, like I said. So does anyone here know what a brand protection strategy is? Okay, I would say a brand protection strategy is the set of legal, commercial, and communication actions adopted by a company to protect its brand and its value against misuse, copying, counterfeiting, or practice that may damage its reputation. Okay, but leaving definitions aside and focusing on the practice, it is legal strategy that seeks to first of all, protect the brand as a whole. That's the most important, not just individual products, and create a solid legal barrier against copies and unauthorized uses. In the case of Nude Project, this strategy is built like a fortress, so where each element reinforces the others. That's the key. So also continuing with the analyzing of the Nude Project backbone, we can see how the brand becomes a central legal asset. So the name Nude Project is not just trade name. So it is a distinctive thing protected under trade market law. I think all of us know what is that. So it has a value, and it is something that belongs exclusively to Nude Project thanks to the legal protection it enjoys. Trademark protection allows the company to avoid consumer confusion, prevent the appropriation of the brand's prestige, and consolidate its reputation. But from fashion law perspective, Nude Project therefore becomes an economic asset, a defense instrument, and a basis for commercial expansion. And that it's so important to know. From the garment to a brand ecosystem, we have to know that in fast fashion, we have protection is weak, copying is widespread, and isolated garments have little legal defense. But in a project, the garment is part of history, acquiring aesthetic and recognition identity. Like I say a lot of times, so it's that the key. And this means that copying a single t-shirt is not enough to copy the brand. And that's so important because that does like increase the value of the brand. It's more difficult to copy. It's no any brand can do that. Just this one. It's the value, I think. So legally speaking, this significant stranges position. Legal sub-strategies, obviously, here the Nude Project must protect its name, its logo also, as we can see in the presentation here. We have two types to write the logo, and especially its use in clothing marketing and social media, because I think the project has combined two parts very important in this world. No, it's the first one. It's the strategy, the legal strategy. So protects the brand, protects the name, protects the logo, but also at the same time protects the marketing, because if you protect the marketing, you're protecting the brand also, and it's very important, this part. And this allows to the company to act against imitations, control who can use the brand, and maintain coherence and identity. Obviously, with the law, with the law of property industry law, it's the most important here, no? Okay. And well, sorry, and Node Projects also stands out for its excellent marketing, and its close relationship with young consumers. And this is the key, I think, in this part, no? So the brand stops being just marketing and becomes a key legal tool, I think. Okay, following the same thing, so the marketing, influencers, image rights. Okay, I think the two guys that create a new project thought about one thing that a lot of people didn't do good at the moment. So it's going to search the consumers that I want and also do the best marketing that I can do. So the brand has very strong presence in social media from fashion law perspectives. This involves contracts with content creators, image rights, and transparent advertising. At the same time, so poor legal management in this area can damage reputation, so lead to sanctions and break brand confidence. So for the reason, marketing must also be legally controlled. Okay, let's talk about one of the most important things. It's copyright and design protection, because it's one of the most dangerous problems in the fashion law, I think, nowadays. So in fashion law, in fashion, many garments are not easily protected through industrial design law. That's the problem. So therefore, no project strengthens its protection through graphic designs, prints, photographs, and audiovisual content. That's, I think, the good strategy that have a project in this case. And this is where copyright law comes into play. No? So abstract ideas are not protected, but the concrete form of expression of those ideas, yes, is. So this explains why Node Project pays such close attention to its visual aesthetics. Legal risks is also important, I think. Every decision involves a risk, so the key is to reduce it much as possible and focus on the less damaging risks. And Node Project faces several legal risks. For example, copying by large retail chains, unauthorized use of its name or aesthetics, brand dilution, loss of identity. But the way to protect against these risks is through legal prevention. So register the brand. I think it's the manual. It's very important. Register the brand is the first thing that you have to do. Constantly monitoring competitors and potential copies, and acting quickly in the face of any threat. So in conclusion, a brand based on identity and community is extremely powerful, but only if it are properly protected by law. That's important. Well, in conclusion, to conclude this presentation, the project demonstrates that the success in today's fashion industry does not depend only on the design of the garment, so its price or legacy of prestige or the quality of the fabric, but rather on the ability to buy a legally protect a strong brand identity supported by marketing that effectively engage and dominates its target audience. Throughout this analysis, we have seen how Node Project does not simply sell clothing, but has managed to create a completely brand ecosystem based on identity, message, and belonging. Like I said, the garment cases to be the ultimate goal and becomes a vehicle for expression, a symbol that connects the consumer with a community and with specific values. It's like I said, all the presentation that is the key of the project. For this very reason, the true value of the company does not lie in the textile product itself, but it is in intangible assets. That's the value. So that's the important. So from fashion law perspective, this case is particularly relevant because it reflects a shift in paradigm. So it is no longer just about protecting individuality, so individual products, no, so but about protecting a brand as a whole. Not project brand protection strategy, also known as a fortress strategy. So acts as a comprehensive legal barrier that combines trademark, copyright, marketing management, and image rights in order to safeguard in reputation and prevent the illusion of the identity. So moreover, we have seen that this strategy is not passive, but preventive and strategic registration monitoring and rapid legal action become essential for a brand whose strength lies in community building and consistency of image. So in an environment dominated by fast fashion, like I said, where copying a garment is easy, I think Nude Project, it's definitely Nude Project proves that copying well-built, yes, and legally protected brand is far more difficult. So in short, Nude Project is a clear example of how fashion law is no longer a secondary or accessory element, but an essential instrument for the growth, defense, and consolidation of a brand. In this case, shows that today fashion law does not merely accompany the business. It forms part of the very strategy for the success. So I think it's very important. So, well, I think the two guys that create Nude Project have understand and have got all the concepts of fashion law, because if you don't know these concepts, I think like a lot of brands nowadays that are already created do not success. And I think these people, yes, have understand a lot, have effort and increase the values that you have to increase to make a good brand. I think it's important. Well, first of all, thank you very much for listening me, because for me was very important understand all the concepts of the fashion law and all the strategies, and make attention, because if you don't understand that, you can understand the success of one brand and the history and all the context. And thank you so much for attention me. Well, if somebody needs to do some question, or somebody needs to make more clearly some details, I'm here to answer them. I hope you enjoyed my presentation, and here you have the bibliography that I need to do this presentation. And thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Yes, brother, thank you so much. Of course, right? Lovely, thank you, Ian, and also thank you for being open to questions. I think we will make proper use of that sometime later after this seminar. So if that is okay with everybody watching us, I would like to take maybe 3 minutes of your time here, of everybody gathered, to take a group picture before it gets really very late, because some might need to leave at some point. So it is just maybe 3 minutes for us, and we'll be back in 3 minutes with more presentations, fascinating presentations, including Hermes, if I'm not mistaken, right? Is it? So please stay tuned and please allow 3 minutes. Thank you. Okay, everybody, back to it. Thank you indeed. We're back. And so, let me introduce you to Maria from Spain, who will be presenting now on Nike. I have to admit that Nike is one of my favorite brands, and not for the reason of their design, but the reason of their amazing proficiency in intellectual property goods and their strategies. So this is it, Nike, a really tough player, isn't it? War every day. So let's dive just in, and good luck, Maria. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Firstly, I would like to thank all my colleagues for the presentations. I hope to live up to their standard that do as well as they have done. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope your day is going on well. Let me introduce myself. My name is Maria Teresa. I'm resident student at the University of Murcia. Now I'm going to show you a small analysis I have done on the Nike brand. Today we will divide the analysis into three sections. First, the origin of the asset. Second, how Nike plays defense and offense simultaneously. And third, how they use the law and psychology to steal their competitor. Okay, first, introduction. The hook. Nike is the largest footwear company on the planet, but I have to tell you a secret that defies the market logic. Nike doesn't make shoes. They don't own the factories. They don't tan leather or see source. If all their offices burn down tomorrow, the company will still be worth billions. But if would you rule tomorrow that Nike lost legal ownership of the symbols, the company will be worth nothing within 20 hours. Why? Because Nike's values is not physical, it is intangible. It is what we call in this subject intellectual property as connective tissue. Their business is to manage a fortress of symbols that psychology compels us to choose them. The mantra, just do it. Look at the screen. Just do it. It is just advertising. No, it is a psychological assault maneuver. This phrase, this sentence was born in 1988, curiously inspired by the last words of a dead row inmate, Gary Gilmore, who said, "Let's do it," before his execution. Nike obviously refined it. Strategically, just do it. It is a frictional removal tool. The human brain is always looking for excuse. Now, I'm tired. It is so expensive. Tomorrow better. No. Nike gives you the order to ignore your own brain. In doing so, it's turned its brand into a religion of action. When you buy Nike, you are not buying a rebel soul. You are buying a lesson to be a winner. That's what increased the value stick. The customer willingness to pay $155 for something that amazing, but costs $30 or $20 to produce. Something similar happened with Apple. Although in theory they sell iPhone, MacBooks, and iPad, the reality is that they only sell up a status of prestige and guaranteed luxury when we purchase one of their products. Second, anatomy of a symbol, the shoes. Let's talk about the logo. $35. That's what a couple of pizzas might cost you and your mate for dinner one night. Yes, I repeat again. $35. That's what Phil Knight paid for the softballs in 2071. As we can see, the Nike logo has evolved from Dyson original sketch. Let me show you. This is the original sketch. In 2071, this is the logo. A couple of years again, this is logo, another logo, and this is the finale. The Nike logo has evolved from Davidson's original sketch, but the power of the shoes remains constant. Also, look at the strategic depth. Its methodology, it represents the win of the Nike. The good is Nike. Nike didn't register a distinct. It registered the concept of victory. It's moving. The shoes is a visual. Or let me show. Sorry, I don't know what is happening. Okay. Let me show you the onomatopoeia. This is the sound of speed. Okay. Give me a second, please. Oh, I don't know it.
It's okay.
I don't know. It's listen. This is the song.
Oh,
Shows. Okay.
oh, swoosh.
Yeah.
Okay.
The- okay. The presentation again. The branding, as we just saw in 19 years, Nike removed its name from the logo. They realized that the symbol was so powerful that the name got in the way. This is called absolute secondary brand recognition. The logo is no longer read, it is filled. It is the university language of success. Third, as we can show in the Barbie case, big brands use an ambidextrous strategy. One hand protects and the other attacks. The left hand defends trade dress. Nike protects the shape of its iconic trainers. They have legally registered the silhouette of the Jordan and Air Force One. In another brand doesn't something that looks like it, Nike fires it like worse. They protect its aesthetic monopoly. In the right hand attack, preventive attack. Nike is already buying the future with the addition of RTFKT. They are patenting digital clothing for the metaverse. They are not waiting for the digital market to grow. They are planting the flag before Adidas know where is the map. Their strategy 2 includes flaking. To dominate the market, Nike used two tactics from our playbook. The sniper as, okay, let me explain. In cycling strategy, Nike surrounds you. Once you enter the Nike Run app or sneaker, the psychological switching cost is brutal. Your data, your achievement, and your exclusive trainer are on their wall. Switching to another brand will cost you running history. You are a willing José. 2. Flanking maneuver. When the sport market becomes saturated, Nike flanks toward luxury. By joining force with Tiffany or Dior, they use halo effect. It is not about selling millions of shoes trainer. It is about elevating the status of the entire brand. If Nike is worthy of Tiffany, it is worthy of you. It is put manipulation of perceived value. Let me show you this. The advert. Oh, sorry. Where is? Okay, the advert. Regarding the advert, the ban, the NBA banned the trainer in 1985 because their color, black and red, did not comply with the rule that footwear must be 51% white. The rebellion, Nike turned censorship into a golden opportunity. They pay Michael Jordan $5,000 fine per game and launched an advert saying that even if the NBA banned them, no one could ban you from wearing them. Let me show you.
September 15th, Nike created a revolutionary new basketball shoe. On October 18th, the NBA threw them out of the game. Fortunately, The NBA can't stop you from wearing Air Jordans from Nike.
Okay, continue. 5. The legal and psychological offensive. Let's mention a key point: litigation as marketing. Yeah. When Lil Nas X launched the Satan Sauce, the name is dramatic, with the human blood. Yeah, human blood. Nike sued within 20 hours. Why? Because for Nike, the brand is a temple. By suing, they protect the integrity of intangible. They use their language as foot soldiers to ensure that no one distorts what the shoes means. This reinforces the idea that Nike isn't real deal and everything else noise. Finally, the conclusion. To close, I want us to remember the central thesis of our subject. Don't buy players, buy winners. Many think that Nike spend millions on influencers or athletes to see if they sell more. But the reality is that Nike leave nothing to change. In Dr. Jankowska logic, a player is a temporary asset, something that can fail. A win, on the other hand, is an actual intellectual property asset that belongs to you forever. Nike doesn't just buy the athlete, it buys the technological patent that the athlete needs to break records, ensuring that no one else can use it. It doesn't buy the advertising. It buys behavioral data from millions of users on its app to predict what you are going to want before you even know it yourself. And above all, it doesn't buy visibility, it buys emotional control of our brains, so just do it. Transforming a simple $55 logo into a universal monopoly on uses. In short, Nike doesn't sell sport; it sells the certainty of winning because they have understood that trainers wear out and athletes retire, but intangibles are eternal. By owning the rollers, the technology, and the symbol, Nike doesn't need to play the game because it has already bought the result. Thank you very much for your attention.
Yes, indeed. Congratulations, applause. Thank you. Thank you, Maria. Indeed, by the wins, not the players, right? Moneyball, the movie, much recommended. So now let's move on to the next presentation by Karol Pacica, University of Silesia, Faculty of Law and Administration right here. So a long-awaited presentation, Hermes and its strategies, fortress strategies, exclusivity strategies, and many, many more. So let me just help you share that. Oh, is it? Maybe it is brown and beige. I think that's what it is. Let us try the full screen mode. But somehow the screen sharing is paused, so I'll have I guess I'll change back to the technical mode, so you will actually move the slides right from here. Hopefully everything is just perfectly visible. So there you go. Hello, take the place. The floor is yours.
So, good morning. I want to start with a simple but provocative question. What is the difference between a handbag that costs $100 and a handbag that costs $50,000? Physically, almost nothing. Both are made of leather, both have handles, and both can carry a phone. And yet, for the second one, people line up in queues that officially don't exist to buy a product that isn't visible on the shelf, paying money that could buy a luxury card. So today I'm going to talk about Hermes, but be warned, we are not going to talk about fashion, This is not a presentation about seasonal trends or colors. This is an analysis of fashion law strategy. I will prove to you today that MS is not a company that sells leather goods. It is a company that sells intellectual property, perfectly wrapped in leather. I will show you how they build a legal fortress that cannot be conquered. So let's start with the foundation. MS is an absolute anomaly in the fashion world. When we look at giants like Louis Vuitton or Gucci, we see corporate machine focused on aggressive growth, marketing, and scale. Hermes says no. Established in 1837 by Thierry Hermes, it began as a harness workshop for horses, and mentally they stay there. Their mission is craftsmanship over trend. Their vision is to remain an independent artisanal house, not an industrial giant. So why is this important for a lawyer? Because the entire business model relies on the myth of heritage. From a legal perspective, heritage is the most valuable intangible asset. It is what justifies those insane prices. The company doesn't sell a product, it sells history and savoir-faire. Every single legal decision they make serves to protect the heritage from dilution. So who is the client? It is the ultra high net worth individual. They seek quiet luxury that doesn't scream with logos. But let's look at the business framework, the artisan model. At Hermes, there is no assembly line. One Birkin bag is sewn by one person from start to finish. They sing it with the unique stamp, and it takes them between 18 to 24 hours. So how do they protect this? Hermes has an internal school, École Hermes de Savoir-Faire. This isn't just employee training. This is a core element of the IP strategy. An artisan trains there for a minimum of 2 years before they're allowed to touch the leather destined for a Birkin. Most companies would patent their techniques, but Hermes deliberately does not patent its stitching techniques, like the famous saddle stitch. Why? Because our patent requires public disclosure and it expires after 2 years, becoming public property. Instead, Hermes protects its know-how as a trade secret by keeping the training and production process in a closed loop. They create protection that is eternal. It is the same strategy as the Coca-Cola recipe. As long as no one leaks the secret, they have a monopoly on this quality. So let's move on the visual side. What do you see? It's just the color orange, right? Pantone 1448. For MS, this is sacred. The story is funny. During Second World War, there was a shortage of standard cream color boxes. So they used the only color nobody wanted, bright orange. And this became an icon. Legally, we call this trade dress, protection of the visual appearance. MS claims that the color itself functions as a trademark, but to register a color, you have go through hell in the court. You must prove first non-functionality, that the color serves no utilitarian function. And secondly, secondary meaning, you must prove that when a customer sees this color on the street, the brain automatically screams MS even without seeing a logo. So what is the legal status? They won in the US and France, but take note they lost in Japan. The Japanese court rejected their claim, stating that orange is too common a color in the packaging industry for one entity to have a monopoly on it. This teaches a fascinating lesson in fashion law. Your IP strategy must be adapted to every country individually. What works in Paris might not work in Tokyo. So let's move on the most interesting business aspect. How on earth do they sell this? Hermes applies artificial scarcity. This triggers the Veblen good effect. The higher the price, the higher the demand. The brand uses an anti-marketing policy. You cannot buy a Birkin or Kelly bag online. Have you heard of waiting lists? That's a myth. They don't exist anymore. In reality, to buy a bag, you have to enter the MS game. You are required to build a purchase history. You cannot just walk in and buy a bag. You must first buy blankets, plates, shoes, or a saddle. You must spend a fortune, often a 1-to-1 ratio on the bag price, and ancillary products so that the sales associate might invite you to the back room. And this brings us to the hottest topic in fashion law in 2024. Customers in the US sued Hermes claiming this practice is illegal. Legally, this is called a tining arrangement. Hermes uses its dominant market position in handbags to coerce customers into buying shoes and scarves, a product they might not want. Under US antitrust law, such tying of product can be illegal, but Hermes defends itself by claiming this is just a relation building and client selection, which are entitled to do as a luxury brand. The results of this trial could change the entire luxury market. If Hermes loses, they might be forced to sell Birkin to anyone who walks into the store, and this will destroy the scarcity strategy. And what about those who buy and resell? The law says you can legally resell your property, but Hermes uses soft power, blacklisting. So if they catch you flipping, you get a lifetime ban. So, however, the biggest threat to Hermes didn't come from customers, but from a competitor. In 2010, the handbag war began. Bernard Arnault, owner of Louis Vuitton, quietly acquired 23% of Hermes stock. He wanted to swallow them whole. He used financial instruments called equity swaps. Officially, he was betting against banks on the stock price, but at the last second, he converted these bets into real shares. And the Hermes family had to use corporate law as a shield. They created a holding company called H51. The heirs locked 50.2% of the shares in the vault for 20 years. They signed a pact that they cannot sell to anyone outside the family, not even for billions. And the result, Louis Vuitton has to surrender and divest the shares. So the conclusion, corporate governance structure is just as important in protecting brand heritage as trademarks. It was a battle for the soul of the company. So now let's look at the IP portfolio, but be careful, forget about the logo for a moment. Hermes strategy is silent IP. So, of course, they have registered the name Birkin and Kelly, but in law, there is a phenomenon called genericide. This is when a product name becomes the name of the entire category, like aspirin or escalator. The risk for MS is that the word Birkin becomes a synonym for expensive bag. So that's why they aggressively sue anyone using the word Birkin in hashtags or product description. The second pillar is copyrights. Look at the scarves. These are not industrial design, they are paintings. Hermes uses strict assignment agreements in contract with artists. This allows them to sue brands like Zara or H&M for plagiarism of a work of art. And this gives them a much longer protection period, often 70 years after the creator's death. And now the most important part, the 3D trademark. Most companies protect a logo, Hermes protect the shape. So in the US, they successfully registered the so-called configuration mark. A court could say the shape is functional because a bag needs to hold things. This is called the functionality doctrine. But Hermes proved that the arrangement of straps and the turn lock serve not just to close the bag, but to identify the source. Thanks to this victory, they have a monopoly on the shape. If you produce a plain black bag with no logo, but it has the characteristic stripe arrangement, Hermes will sue you and win because you stole their trade dress. So they even protect the look of the metal hardware as a position mark. For example, the specific placement of the letter H as a clasp. This shows the IP strategy is total. So we also must talk about China. China uses a first to file system. It means whoever goes to the trademark office first wins. When MS went to China, they found a problem. The Chinese name Amashi, which sounds like MS, was already registered by a local toy maker. This is called trademaker squatting. MS fought in a court for 70 years to get the name back. And the lesson, if you go to Asia, you must register your name and the translation immediately. So now let's briefly touch on reputational risk. In 2050, PETA exposed cruelty at crocodile farms. Jane Birkin, the icon of bag is named after, threatened to withdraw her name. That highlights the risk of right of publicity. And the brand is held hostage by the person. Intrinsically, Jane Birkin receives an annual royalty fee from MS for the use of her name, which she donates entirely to charity. MS had to immediately improve ethical standard to keep her. So skip to 2022, the most important case of the decades, MS versus Meta Birkins. Artist Mason Rothschild created 100 virtual NFT bags covered in fur. He made over $1 million, and Hermes sued him for trademark infringement and dilution. So the artist defense, the Roger test, this is a US legal test stating that if a work has artistic value, free speech is more important than a trademark. But the jury decided Rothschild failed the Rogers test. His NFTs were too commercial and he acted like a fashion brand, not an artist. So this is a landmark victory. The court set a precedent. Real world intellectual property rights extend to the virtual world. So the implication, brands are now mass registering trademarks in digital classes. So what is the future? Vertical integration. They are buying crocodile farms so no one can cut them off from raw materials. But they are also looking at materials futures. They partnered to produce Sylvania, leather made from mushroom mycelium. This shows even a 19th century brand must innovate. But this opens a new IP field, material patents, which is new for MS. Additionally, blockchain technology to track every bag and finally eliminate the counterfeit market. So to summarize, why is Hermes untouchable? IP is a business model like shape, color, and secrecy creates an impassable barrier. Corporate fortress, the H51 holding protects them from Wall Street wolves. And adaptability, the metaverse victory and the fight against tying arrangements show the legal department as as sharp as the artisan's needles. I want to leave you with one final thought. Think about the Birkin bag. It is made of the finest leather. It can last 50, maybe 80 years, but eventually nature will win, the leather will crack, and the object will disintegrate. Materials things are temporary, but a trademark, under the law, a trademark is the only asset that can live forever. As long as the company renews it, it never expired, it can last 1,000 years. So when you look at the MS, remember, they are not just selling your leather, they are selling your immorality, because while the bag may perish, the brand protected by this powerful legal fortress is eternal. And that's all. Thank you for your attention.
I guess the applause is slightly More silence since everybody is getting tired, right? What a day. Yeah, I can see you guys. So, okay, moving on to the next presentation. And that is actually a presentation of Dexet. He will present on AI and fashion. Just let us find the presentation, right? Email. Lovely. What a beautiful presentation. Okay, so please welcome Dexet. He will spend a few words on this quite general yet specific strategy. I'm sharing the screen for you now. Full screen mode should be working just fine, I guess. Yeah, I can see everything right. You'll manage. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Dikshit and I am from India, currently studying in University of Silesia. So the topic for today's presentation is hybrid human and AI creativity in fashion, because we have seen all of my colleagues, they were presenting about fashion and fashion brands and their fashion IP management and portfolio management. But I would like to go back to a bit of a background and start to work on how now, with the introduction of artificial intelligence, the fashion industry is constantly under pressure by like copyright and design perspective. So let me begin with okay, so why does it matter? So AI is no longer a speculative technology in fashion. It is already used in design, ideation, trend forecasting, branding, and supply chain decision making. These tools influence creative choices, often invisible. At the same time, copyright and design law were built around assumptions of individual human authorship. This creates a growing mismatch between how creativity happens in practice and how law and risks are structured. Fashion is encountering this mismatch earlier than many other sectors. So, what is hybrid creativity? It refers to a creative outcome produced through a combination of human intentions and AI assistance. This is not about AI replacing designers, but about AI mediating and accelerating creative workflows. Examples include AI-generated mod boards, pattern suggestions, color combinations, or design variations that are then selected, refined, and discarded by humans. The creative act becomes distributed across tools, datasets, and human judgments. So just to give you a quick example, this is in a screenshot from one of the latest article published on NRP. And here, one of the brand decision maker, Suvillian, said that AI recently helped her team decide whether to go with a red or blue striped shirt for next spring. And I would like also like to get your attention on the last paragraph where it says that our models track everything from runaway shows to social media. The fashion expertise led to Hattie Rich. The Paris-based company works with such brands as New Balance, Skims, and Prada. We have massive scale of data that allow our AI to detect early signals of trend and sometimes months before they become invisible on the mainstream media. So the point here is that as the industry is evolving, we have seen that now majorly all of the designers are using digital tools and they are less prone to use handmade sketches or sample stitches. They would just create a digital portfolio of their product and would try to do different experiments on it. If we put AI into such a situation where there is no restriction, like there is unrestricted data available to them, then it would certainly create a problem when we go to seek out for protection such as design or copyright. So it's a fashion, as we already know, is a very sensitive sector. As far as design law is concerned, in Europe, it's like 5-year protection, which can be extended by like 4 times 5 years. So it's majorly 20 to 25 years of protection, which is same in India also. And that is why it is a very sensitive issue. The product in hand in fashion itself has a lower shelf value. Because fashion is also exposed to these issues, it relies heavily on visual similarity, iterative designs, and cultural references. Trends evolve quickly. Designs are often inspired by existing aesthetics, and boundaries between inspirations and imitations are already blurred. When AI systems are introduced into this environment, they amplify these characteristics. These makes fashion a very useful test case for understanding broader question about AI-assisted creativity. Okay, so this is one of a diffusion model example used by Liaison, and is also been slightly used by Stability AI, which is like recently been in use against their case lawsuit against Getty Images. So basically, what is the AI model is doing is getting the original image and putting out a noise until the point when there is no image left, and then starts to do a reverse engineering process to get a clear image again of a product. Another way is to use a data labeling method, wherein you would actually take a photo of a cat and would try to label the content such as eyes, fur, ears, and that's how you would make a model run and make him train in such a way that he would understand what a cat in a hat would look like. And based on such a prompt, it would then generate a cat wearing a hat. Okay, so now the technical part, which is the pressure points, as in what we are looking into the problem. The problem is the input and the output. So input of data is what you are feeding to an AI model, and output is what you are getting from that AI model. So let's first talk about what we are training, like how we are training the AI model and what data we are inputting and what are the responsibilities that might occur. So most generative AI systems are trained on large volumes of existing images, designs, and visuals material. From a business perspective, this raises questions about where that data comes from and whether it creates legal or reputational exposure. From a legal perspective, it raises a deeper issue. When machine learns from protected work, does it count as copying, or it is just something conceptually different? Fashion companies increasingly rely on tools that they do not fully control, which complicates the responsibility aspect. I would like here to mention the recent case law for Getty Images and Stability AI, wherein Getty Images at some point failed to convince the judge that the training that happened was within the jurisdiction of UK, and the training would also include storing of data and not just memorization. So it's a very critical and very crucial point that you are trying to create a memory, or you're trying to save up enough data to get an entirely different reproduction of creative sets. At the same time, like we have this problem with input of data, we also have a problem with pressure point 2 as AI generated outputs. So the second pressure point concerns output. It's an AI assisted design resembles an existing work. Who is responsible? It is a designer, the company, the AI provider, or the user who gave the prompt. In fashion, where resemblance claims are already common, AI adds a new layer of uncertainty. The question is not only legal liability, but also how businesses document and justify creative processes in the case of disputes. Regarding this point, as far as to my limited knowledge, I would say that if we are to look into this aspect of output, AI generated outputs, then as we all know that cultural appropriation is a very big problem in the fashion industry, and there has not been a very steady solutions. It is usually done by the big brands or the celebrities, And it usually ends with the apology letter without any compensation, or just an open apology note to the public, which generally does not solve the problem that they have created. I believe that in the fashion industry, with the infusion of AI generated content, cultural appropriation, the problem of cultural appropriation is one of the things that can be eliminated very rapidly and very effectively. Now, strategic risk for the fashion businesses. These legal uncertainty translates into strategic risk. There is a litigation risk, particularly around copying or imitation claims. There is a reputational risk if the brands are seen as exploiting AI at the expense of human creativity or cultural source. This is also compliance risk, as legal standards differ across jurisdictions. Importantly, uncertainty itself is a risk because it makes long-term planning more difficult. So from business point of view, I believe that as far as to my knowledge, Singapore, Japan, and South Korea are the leading jurisdictions where AI training or data mining exceptions are least of bother to. For instance, Singapore readily allow all of its copyrighted material to be data mining, except for the fact that such an outcome should not be used as a commercial entity, or should only be used up to the point of training the model and not further that. But from the business point of view, we also need to look into the aspects of which jurisdiction really allows data mining. What are the laws governing if there is in case of infringement, and also, and most importantly, important from the business point of view, is the labor cost. Setting up and data mining in Singapore would be very risky because it would require a lot of money. The labor is not cheap compared to countries like India, compared to countries like in Africa. So from the business point of view, it is very much important to look how much money we are going to allocate if such a case that a fashion house would like to build their own AI generated model that would help and aid them in creating designs and to take decisions. Sorry. Okay. So next is strategy. It's not a legal solution. So yes, rather than focusing on legal fixes, it may be more useful for businesses to think in terms of strategic choice. This includes how transparent they are about AI use, how they document creative decision making, and how they govern internal use of AI tools. The law may eventually adapt, but businesses cannot wait for a full legal clarity before making operational decisions. Okay, so this is one of the very recent event that has occurred is by the Walt Disney. So basically in December 2025, they first sued OpenAI for copyright infringement, followed by a amalgamation by both the companies where Disney put in some good amount of investment into OpenAI for creating AI input or AI created animations. But beginning in the 2026, we can see that Walt Disney, they put out a claim on their website stating that they are opting out from text and data mining by AI in any manner that is possible. This came into my knowledge because I'm also working as a AI research associate, and it really created a very huge problem when you are working with models and you got to know such kind of claims, which is just open and like published, and it would be really difficult to not to take products from Disney company because it's a very huge company and there's a lot of creativity flowing around. Also, to my limited knowledge, I also think that Disney company at some point also knows that their associates or their creators also are using AI, and they need to be really sure about it, really confident about that they are not getting into mining of data by AI rather than someone comes up and make an infringement claim. So this is one of the strategic choices, I would say, that to get to an investment and then stops other companies or competitors to getting into data mining. Warner Brothers also did the same kind of thing. I think Sony was the first of the companies in music sector that created a ruckus by stopping everyone from data mining because they have some suits going on where music was created by, which was copyrighted by Sony, and it created a lot of problems. So now this lead to a broader question: can copyright law adapt to hybrid creativity without stifling innovation? Because as far as IP laws are concerned, copyright and design, they are mainly attributed towards creativity made by humans and not by AI. There are certain exceptions also, but that it would not make a line very clear. And there are still a very huge scope of developments. And how should you responsibly allocate in complex creative chains? These are not questions with immediate answers, but they shape how businesses position themselves today. Lastly, closing thoughts, AI does not eliminate creativity in fashion. It's a fine line. People say that AI will replace things or occupations, but this is not the case. It is rather an aid and amalgamation of human creativity and artificial intelligence inputs, because it helps humans to remove unnecessary and unoccupied data which has no relevance. The challenge for fashion industry is not only legal compliance, but understanding how creative value is defined and protected in an increasingly hybrid environment. So yes, this is from my end, and I would like to welcome you for any questions if you have.
Of course, thank you. Okay, so let me take the floor. Well, first of all, I'd like to say that Maria, the last speaker for tonight, will not be joining us because she is sick. So she will send over her presentation as well to be included in the proceedings later. Let me tell you that I'm really happy to wrap this up with your presentation because we actually went really smoothly from all the general ideas of branding, competitive advantage and whatnot through aesthetics, Julia, as you know it, and then through some major fashion houses, and just to mention Miu Miu or Hermes. But Dixit, well, you got it. Well, it's AI and the future of it, and all these technical advancements and new solutions that every fashion house should be aware of. Not just for the use of data as such, but also for designing and making clothes better, making clothes fit us better. So really being like very active on that field. I already know some companies doing that, mostly in the States, including Silicon Valley. So these days it is not just tech that is very close to AI solutions as such, but it's even fashion, which is somehow surprising, but also rewarding. But as a society, we can use all these advancements to be better. Professor José, Geraldo, Romanello, Bueno also handed me over some questions for each of you. We will not ask you these questions right now because it's already we are all getting tired. It's getting late. The students are right here. It's really dark. It's like -15, isn't it? Celsius degrees, and everybody wants to get safe back home. But I just want to say thank you to all. And before I hand over to Professor José, Geraldo, Romanello, Bueno, Mackenzie University, who will conclude for tonight, I just want to say thank you again, and this is it. IP lab number 2. There was actually 3 labs this semester, and any new labs only next year. So thank you indeed, you made it. You got your credits. Thank you, and handing over to you, Professor.
Thank you, Professor Marlena, for the invitation of these wonderful presentations. I really learned a lot from your students, and I'm really pleased to see they are very interested, not only in Poland, but also in Spain and Libya, right? So I was amazed of these presentations, and I hope you continue to do these presentations once again every year. Thank you very much, and I congratulate all the participants that exposed their presentations. Thank you, and I hope to see you soon.
Thank you, Professor. And someday we will all see each other again, right? Thank you and bye.
Bye. Thank you. Bye, everybody.